और बहुत वो उड़ता है सर। आगे चले जाते हैं।
How was the experience that today you have flown the last time? MiG-21.
So today is not the last time that I'm flying.
Not this one.
No, not the last time that I'm flying MiG-21. So I'll get to fly more, I think, before they retire.
Sir, MiG-21 has a history of more than 6 decades of glorious history, and you have flown it earlier also. So what has been your experience? If you could remember, can you share some of your good experience with this aircraft?
So MiG-21, yes, it has been the workhorse of the Indian Air Force. We've inducted it in 1960s and still continuing with it. And this has been actually one of the most mass-produced supersonic fighter jet, if I can say. About 11,000 or so were produced, and more than 60 countries have operated it. It's a design which is very limited numbers, like Delta with the tailplane. And we've used it for our training after the initial conversion means after getting commissioned to conversion onto fighters. So my first experience was in 1985 when I got immediately after conversion. I went to Tezpur and we flew that time called the Type 77, one of the MiG-21s. So after flying the Kirans, it was a revelation that the aircraft could feel like this. It's an amazing aircraft to fly. Very, very agile, very maneuverable, and very simple design. But it requires some kind of initial training for you to get used to it. It is good for its rate of climb. It was made like as an interceptor. So at max reheat, it could climb more than 200, 250 meters per second. So I think it is going to be one aircraft which is going to be missed by people who have flown it earlier. But yes, everything has time and place. Now we have to move on because this technology is old. It's very difficult to maintain this technology now. So we've decided to now call it a day for this aircraft and move on to the new platforms like the Tejas Mark II, Rafales have come in, Su-30s are already operating. So these platforms will take this place.
You've been closely associated with Tejas, and Tejas is going to replace it. So how would be the transition?
Tejas was actually designed as a MiG-21 replacement. That's why it is a small aircraft. It was designed around MiG-21 and it was conceived with some kind of motivation from Mirage. That's why there's a Delta platform. And it is going to replace MiG-21 quite well, but it will have to evolve. Tejas now will have to think of new weapons for Tejas also. And as a training role, initial fighter training role, I think it can fit in very well. So we have this 83 contract already on. We have another contract lined up to be signed very soon. So I expect, like we had the MiG-21s, various versions of Tejas, whether Tejas Mark I or Mark II, or later on MCA, will replace this fleet. Thank you.
See, MiG-21 has served the Indian Air Force for almost 6 decades. It will be 62 years completion this year. And the last of the operational flying will happen in Chandigarh with chapter close part of the operational flying.
So they will Wing Commander Deep Singh. Now we move and speak to the Chief of Air Staff and find out about his experience flying this Russian beauty.
For bombing high altitude targets, this is the ingenuity of our pilots in the Indian Air Force. I am talking about Operation Safed Sab, which have come in the Indian territory for role of reconnaissance. पूरी तरह से तबाह है। नहीं एयरक्राफ्ट को तो जो टेक्नीशियन के पास हैंड करते हैं उसके बाद हाँ ये वो अच्छा है कि गर्मी में फूल जो है आपके फुल टाइम वो तो फूल निकल जाते हैं इसमें भी इंजन के नीचे है जैसे कि फुल टाइम प्रेशर है जैसे वो प्रेशर हो जाता है इससे पहले फुल टाइम ये जो ठीक है The MiG-21, although a high-speed supersonic, it was designed for shooting down in fact, the pilots wore a pressure suit. Gurgaon and Coca-Cola airfields in 1971 was decimated practically.
अब जबकि MiG-21 रिटायर होने जा रहा है, आप इसकी हिस्ट्री और इसका ऑपरेशनल जो इम्पैक्ट है कैसे देखते हैं आप उसे?
पहले आपका सवाल सही है। पहले मैं आपको इसकी हिस्ट्री के ऊपर ले जाऊंगा। MiG-21 जो है 1963 में भारत में आया था, भारतीय वायुसेना में आया था। इसका पहला स्क्वाड्रन जो बना था वो चंडीगढ़ में बना था, 28 स्क्वाड्रन। क्योंकि ये सबसे पहले सुपरसोनिक फाइटर था भारत का, इसलिए 28 स्क्वाड्रन का नाम फर्स्ट सुपरसोनिक्स पड़ा था। और उसके बाद 1965 की जंग में MiG-21 की भागीदारी थी। इन्होंने अपना ऑपरेशनल रोल निभाया एज एयर डिफेंस एयरक्राफ्ट। एंड उसके बाद MiG-21 जो है, हमने इसकी आइट्रेशंस की उस टाइम पे टाइप 74, टाइप 76 आया था। फिर 1971 की जंग में MiG-21 ने पार्टिसिपेट किया। अगर आपको याद होगा, MiG-21 ही वो एयरक्राफ्ट था जिन्होंने गवर्नर्स रेजिडेंस में इसको अटैक किया 57 MMRP से बांग्लादेश में, ढाका में। एंड 14 दिसंबर की वो डेट थी। 15 दिसंबर को गवर्नर ने रिजाइन कर दिया और 16 दिसंबर को पाकिस्तान ने सरेंडर कर दिया। वी हैड 93,000 ऑफ देयर प्रिजनर ऑफ वॉर एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। 1971 वॉर में जब अटैक किया था, उस टाइम 4 स्क्वाड्रन थी, 28 स्क्वाड्रन था, ओरियल्स और फर्स्ट सुपरसोनिक्स जो थे। उसके बाद MiG-21 के काफ़ी सारे चेंजेस आए। हम टाइप 77 जो MiG-21 FL था, उसके बाद MiG-21 MF आया टाइप 96, फिर उसको और चेंजेस किए, अपग्रेड किए, टाइप 75 आया MiG-21 BIS ऑपरेशन सफ़ेद सागर में, जहाँ पे MiG-21 को यूटिलाइज किया गया सारे ऑपरेशनल रोल्स में, हाई माउंटेनियस टारगेट्स में अटैक करने के लिए, फोटो रिकॉनेसेंस रोल में। 1999 में स्क्वाड्रन बुंदेला ने अटलांटिक शूट डाउन किया था अपने MiG-21 BIS से ही R-60 मिसाइल यूज़ करके। उसके बाद 2001 के बाद MiG-21 जो है सारे अपग्रेड होके MiG-21 बाइसन बन गए, धीरे धीरे करके टाइप 96 बंद होते गए। और अब जो है हमारे पास MiG-21 बाइसन है। MiG-21 बाइसन का रोल 2019 में बालाकोट के टाइम ग्रुप कैप्टन अभिनंदन ने शूट डाउन किया था उनका F-16, पाकिस्तान का F-16, पाकिस्तानी एयरफोर्स F-16। देन कमिंग टू 2025 इट हैड डन इट अपना ऑपरेशनल रोल किया उन्होंने ड्यूरिंग दी ऑप सिंदूर। एंड नाउ 60 साल की सर्विस के बाद इंडियन एयरफोर्स में MiG-21 अब अपने ऑपरेशनल रोल ख़त्म कर रहा है। इसका चंडीगढ़ में इसका लास्ट फ्लाइंग होगा 26 सितंबर को। एंड this concludes the journey, 60-year long journey with Indian Air Force.
आपने भी क्योंकि इस पे फ्लाइट हुई है, अगर इसके ऑपरेशनल सिग्निफिकेंस के बारे में अगर आप कुछ बताएं, अभी के जो भी मौजूदा इसके जो समकक्ष के जो प्लेन्स हैं, जो फाइटर प्लेन्स हैं।
See, MiG-21 जब आया था, this was एक हाई स्पीड सुपरसोनिक इंटरसेप्टर था। इनफैक्ट जब MiG-21 आया था तो लोग प्रेशर सूट के साथ फ्लाई करते थे। रशिया ने इसको डिज़ाइन किया था B-52 बॉम्बर्स को शूट करने के लिए, बट इंडियन एयरफोर्स में इसको यूटिलाइज किया ग्राउंड अटैक रोल के लिए भी। और जो इसका अपग्रेड हुआ बाइसन, उसमें इसमें मॉडर्न EW सूट लगाया गया, एक रडार लगाया गया, मॉडर्न मिसाइल्स लगाई गई लाइक RWA R-73, और इट कुड होल्ड इट्स ओन वेट इन कॉम्बैट एट दैट पॉइंट ऑफ टाइम। जस्ट दैट इट इज स्टिल अ वेरी पोटेंट फाइटर, बट नाउ इट्स टाइम फॉर मेकिंग स्पेस फॉर अ न्यू जनरेशन ऑफ एयरक्राफ्ट because the generation has changed.
जी, ऐसी फ्लाइट्स या जो भी आर्म्ड इक्विपमेंट होते हैं, उनकी जो सिग्निफिकेंस देखी जाती है कि अपने साथ के कितने बड़े बड़े या कैसे को मार गिराया है, क्या किया, इसके बारे में अगर आपको डिटेल दें, जैसे आपने F-16 बताया, ऐसे कुछ और।
सो जब MiG-21 आया था, दिस इज द ओनली एयरक्राफ्ट जिन्होंने सारे जनरेशन ऑफ जहाज़ों को पाकिस्तानी इन्वेंट्री में जो थे वो शूट डाउन किया है। एंड जब ये आया था उस टाइम पे पाकिस्तान एयरफोर्स के पास F-104 जहाज़ थे, विच वॉज देयर सुपरसोनिक एयरक्राफ्ट। उसके जवाब में बैलेंस करने के लिए MiG-21 आया था। एंड दिस हैज़ गिवन इट्स वेट इन गोल्ड, दैट इज ऑल आई कैन टेल यू। एंड इट इज स्टिल कंटेम्प्रेरी, बट नाउ इट्स टाइम टू say goodbye to this mean machine.
Yeah. So next coming days, MiG-21 is going to retire. What you want to say on historical impact?
Yes, MiG-21 has served in Indian Air Force for almost 6 decades now, and since it is stopping its operational flying, I think it is the right time to at least cover the history of MiG-21. The MiG-21, the MiG part is an acronym for Mikoyan and Gurevich, which was the designer and producer of this aircraft. MiG-21 in Indian Air Force came in the year 1963. The first squadron, 28 squadron, was raised in Chandigarh of MiG-21. The MiG-21 being the first supersonic aircraft, the squadron was called the first Supersonics, aptly named the first Supersonics. Thereafter, MiG-21 was operationally deployed, involved in 1965 operations. It had its fair share of operational history in 1965. Thereafter, coming to 1971 war, wherein MiG-21 was totally operationally deployed in all the squadrons. And the most important one of all is the attack on governor's residence in Dhaka, that time East Pakistan, now Bangladesh, on 14th of December 1971. 15 December, the governor resigned. 16 December, Pakistan surrendered. We had 93,000 prisoners of war, and all because of one turning point which this aircraft delivered. Following 1971, MiG-21 was used in various roles, including training. We had the MiG Operational Flying Training Unit. The pilots were trained on the operational art of flying, art of combat flying, art of delivering weapons. Operations of Sagar, MiG-21 was used extensively for photo reconnaissance, for bombing heights, over the heights of mountains. Speaks of ingenuity of our pilots to deliver loads at such heights. Then came 1999, MiG-21 BIS again, Squadron Bundela with his R-Type 75 BIS and R-60 missile shot down at Atlantic. 2001, the Air Force decided to upgrade the BIS to the Bison. It was given a modern avionics suit, modern missiles, R-73, RWW BVR missile, CMDS, Acopio radar, helmet mounted display, heads up display and multifunctional display was there. MiG-21 Bison had served its role for almost 24 years now. It was also involved in 2019 Balakot attack wherein Abhinandan had shot down an F-16. Then coming to 2025 Op Sindoor, it was deployed operationally for its use. And now after almost 6 decades of his service in the Indian Air Force, the operational flying of MiG-21 will come to a stop at Air Force Station Chandigarh, which incidentally was where the MiG-21s were inducted. That is the same place where the MiG-21s will be told their last goodbyes in their operational history.
Please give some insights on its operational significance compared to its current flying machines that you are referring to.
See, MiG-21 Bison is an upgrade of a MiG-21 platform, which is a Gen 3 aircraft which is there. It still carries its weight in gold as far as its operational role, that is carrying out air defense or even for that matter ground attack is there. And it can hold its weight with the contemporary fighters which are there at this point of time. Just that now after 6 decades, it's high time to bid this aircraft goodbye.
Yeah. Any list can you give please, the planes this has shot down?
Yes, so MiG-21 has a history of shooting down all generation of aircraft, and the last one was the F-16 which was shot down. It had also shot down in 1971 war the F-104s. So this has got a mean history. The way Indian Air Force has utilized the MiG-21 operationally, none of the air forces in the world have utilized. This goes and calls for the training, the kind of training the Indian Air Force imparts on its pilots, the kind of training which is done during peacetime, so that the operations, when it comes to operations, this aircraft can be utilized fully.
So you are going to miss this?
Of course, I have a personal connect with this aircraft. I've flown this aircraft, MiG-21, and Bison was the last one I had flown. We are going to miss that, and that is for all the pilots, almost every pilot in the Indian Air Force who've come up, not recently but prior, has flown the MiG-21, and then they've moved on to other aircraft.
There was an airborne as large formation, reset as large one, and 2 checks which are in 2 minutes to alignment, and the rest of the activities will be carried out.
Morning, sir.
औपचारिक रूप से MiG-21 के उस दस्तावेज को चीफ ऑफ द एयर स्टाफ को सौंपने का, जिसको पूरी भारतीय वायुसेना के अनगिनत योद्धाओं ने भरा, इन्हीं पन्नों पर लिखी हुई है। फॉर्म 700 के नाम से जाने वाले इस दस्तावेज को सौंपते ही MiG-21 सक्रिय फ्लाइंग से हटके हेरिटेज फ्लाइट में शामिल हो जाएगा। Commanding Officer 1st Supersonic 28 Squadron, Commanding Officer 23 Squadron Group Captain Nanda Rajendra, Senior Engineering Officer Wing Commander Balti Jha, and Warrant Officer Pawan Kumar will now have 700. एक ऐतिहासिक क्षण, भावुकता के वो पल जो एक सैनिक को उसके हथियार के साथ मित्रता और प्रेम को प्रदर्शित करते हैं। और इसी के साथ 6 दशकों के गरिमामय अध्याय आज पूर्ण होता है।
अधिक यादगार बनाने के लिए विशेष आवरण, विशेष चिन्ह हिंदी और अंग्रेजी में यूनिट के गौरवशाली इतिहास को उल्लेखित किया जाता है। आज के इस ऐतिहासिक अवसर पर सेना डाक सेवा कोर द्वारा एक कवर जारी किया जा रहा है। अब मैं भारत के रक्षा मंत्री माननीय श्री राजनाथ सिंह जी से अनुरोध करूंगा कि वे मंच पर आकर वायुसेना अध्यक्ष अपर महानिदेशक सेना डाक सेवा से भी अनुरोध है कि वे मंच पर आए।
हमारे आज के मुख्य अतिथि तथा भारत के रक्षा मंत्री माननीय श्री राजनाथ सिंह जी द्वारा सभा को संबोधित किया जाएगा।
Is the MiG-21 going to retire? How Air Force and people are going to remember this?
See, it is an emotional moment for everyone, all the pilots who've flown, in fact, for the Air Force, since MiG-21 has served for more than 6 decades. And we'll just take you through the journey of MiG-21s inducted in 1963. It took part in the 1965 operations, where it was operationally deployed. 1971, MiG-21s were fully deployed. We had used them extensively. It had kills to its name. It was used in bombing role. The most notable one was bombing of the Tejgaon and Kurmitola airfield, where the Pakistani, East Pakistan at that point of time, was grounded because most of the operations were done from that airfield. And of course the attack on the governor's residence, which led to hastening the process of Pakistan surrendering with 93,000 POWs, as you already know, in East Pakistan. Subsequently in 1999, during Ops Safed Sagar, Kargil, MiG-21s were deployed. They were also used along with the other aircraft like the MiG-27s and the Mirages. The images you already know how their command and control centers were destroyed at those heights using an aircraft and weapons beyond the capability of the aircraft. This was done by ingenuity of the pilots and the way the training kicked in at the important moment. Subsequently, it was also deployed in various international exercises. It participated, and then in Operation 2019 Balakot operations, Abhinandan had shot down an F-16, and as late as 2025 Operation Sindoor, it was deployed operationally. And now after 62 years, we are here bidding by at the same place where it was inducted. It was inducted as first supersonic, and now Panther is the last squadron which I will be flying. Our Chief of Air Staff is also paying tribute by flying tribute to this aircraft by flying the last mission. There are 2 formations to be flying. One is Badal formation and one is Panther formation. And in the last formation, the LCA will be one who will be taking over from MiG-21. Thank you.
Is the MiG-21 going to retire? How Indian Air Force and you people are going to remember this iconic aircraft?
The MiG-21 holds a very special place in the annals of history as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned. It has served the Indian Air Force for over 60 years, having been inducted into the Indian Air Force in 1963. It has taken part in all major operations which India has seen after 1963, be it the 65 Ops, the stellar role this aircraft played during the 1971 Ops. In fact, it will not be wrong to say that this is the aircraft which was instrumental in ensuring the early surrender of the Pakistanis from Bangladesh after the attack by MiG-21s on the Governor House in Dhaka. After that, be it any operation, it has always been in the forefront of everything. We've seen it in action in Kargil thereafter. It shot down the Atlantic. We are all aware that after the Balakot strikes, the MiG-21 was the aircraft which shot down an F-16, and even during Operation Sindoor, it was carrying out operational patrols. So it has had a very rich and powerful history as far as the Indian Air Force is concerned, not only in the operational role but also in the training role, where almost all fighter pilots of maybe my seniority or little junior to me, we have all learned fighter flying in this aircraft. So this aircraft has made fighter pilots to almost the entire Air Force. So it does hold a very, very special place in the hearts of all in the Air Force, and therefore it is a special day that we are celebrating so many years of glorious service to the nation. We are celebrating it in a befitting manner through a flypast, some ceremonies on the ground, handing over of the Form 700, which is essentially a symbolic closing of all operational activities on this aircraft, which will be seen on the 26th.
It's going to say goodbye from the place where it was came in operation.
Absolutely. So when the Indian Air Force was inducted the MiG-21s, the Type 74 was brought in by ship to Bombay. There it was assembled, and after being assembled, the first MiG-21s were flown to Chandigarh, if I'm not wrong, via Agra, by the first squadron which flew the MiG-21s, which is 28th Squadron, also known as the first supersonics, because they are the first squadron to fly a supersonic aircraft, the MiG-21, in the Indian Air Force.
LCA Tejas is going to replace this. Do you think that it will be in that role that Tejas performed in Indian Air Force?
You must understand that the Tejas was planned as a replacement of the MiG-21. However, as time has passed, the Tejas itself has been upgraded, keeping in mind the realities of modern day combat. So I'm sure that the Tejas will do a great job in replacing and carrying the legacy of the MiG-21 forward. Yeah.